So I'll have to log out and then join again subsequently after some time. Okay. So after I
No
have
problem.
had my few words, so मैं log out कर दूंगा and then थोड़ी देर के बाद join करता हूँ फिर से.
Sure, sir.
मेरा beginning में ही है ना?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? हाँ ठीक है.
Yes. Shall we start, sir, or wait for a few minutes?
I think we should start. It's already
Okay.
11:04. Let us
Yeah.
start.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. So this is the first meet today about the Art and Cultural Committee for the Poetry Recitation Program, Mantaram. I'm Dr. Nisab Shah, I'm committee member. Dr. Darpan ma'am will be joining shortly. So let us start with the PPT. I request the technical person to change the slide, please. Yeah. So these are the names of our office bearers: Dr. Sudhir Bhave, sir, President, and Dr. K.K. Mishra, sir, Vice President, Honorary Secretary Dr. Abhijit, Treasurer Dr. Nakul, and Hina ma'am, Dr. Honorary Editor, and the names of the Art and Cultural Committee members. Next slide, please. So for today's session, we have with us Dr. Darpan Kaur, Dr. Sudhir Bhave, sir, Dr. Nina ma'am, Dr. Manali ma'am, Dr. Sandeep sir, Dr. Meenakshi ma'am, and myself, Dr. Nisar. Next slide. So we'll start with a welcome address, short welcome address by Dr. Sudhir Bhave. Before that, I'll briefly read Dr. Bhave sir's CV. Next slide, please. Sir is a esteemed psychiatrist.
Sir, just I think we can bypass that. Just say that I'm the regional president. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't go for CV.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. So sir is the president, and we'll start with sir's welcome address. Sir, please continue.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
Next slide.
Right. I welcome all of you in this very first meeting of the Cultural Subcommittee. As you all know, Darpan is the chairperson of the subcommittee. The subcommittee, like the earlier years, has been formed with the idea that art and mind are very closely linked. The very basis of art is the mind, and wherever we talk of mind, we talk of mental health. And in fact, mental health also does reflect in artistic outpourings, artistic outputs in many ways, both pathological and normal. Darpan, as we all know, has been an extremely dynamic part of the West Zone. And over the years, we have been seeing that whatever responsibility she's entrusted with, she, kind of dives fully into it and sees to it that every small thing is managed quite efficiently and in great detail. So, thanks, Darpan, for forming quite a well chalked out program for the entire year, which I think, as we in the extended EC have seen, is a fairly extensive program with almost a monthly, some online monthly program, and in addition to that, 2 or 3 offline programs. So I thank Darpan and our entire team, including Nisar, for all the background work that they've done. I wish the committee all success in their endeavor, and I'm very sure this committee is going to do a good work for the entire year. So yeah, so I welcome you all for this first meeting of the Cultural Committee. So over to you, Nisar. And as I said, please excuse me for a few minutes. I'll be logging out because I'm in the middle of a physical meeting, and I log in after some time again. Okay. So over to you, Nisar.
Thank you, sir. I welcome Dr. Lakshmikant sir to the meeting, and Dr. Darpan ma'am has also joined. Kindly, Dr. Darpan ma'am will please continue. Darpan ma'am.
Yes. Hello, Nisar. Can you share your PPT slides? Can you display the slides?
Yes, it is shared.
First you. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can see the screen. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Nisar. And it is my great honor to chair the first Poetry and Mental Health webinar series. As Dr. Bhaves has already introduced you all, that we are doing Man-e-Tarang, which is going to be a monthly psychoeducational webinar series with lots of activities programmed on arts, culture, creativity, psychiatry, and mental health awareness. And due to some connectivity issue, I have not been able to log in from the laptop, and I am logging from the mobile. I hope that I am audible and visible. So I request Dr. Nisar to please screen share the slide of Dr. Rathi sir. Today we have a program planned of a 1 hour webinar on the theme of poetry and mental health. And we have 3 speakers today. We have Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir, President of the Indian Psychiatric Society, who will be giving the first talk on poetry and mental health. Please screen share the slide. Yes, we also have, along with Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir, we have Dr. Neena Sawant ma'am, who has been the immediate past president of the Indian Psychiatric Society Western Zonal Branch. And we also have Dr. Monali Deshpande with us, who has served on the Arts and Cultural Committee last year, and she was in charge of the poetry section. So we have an esteemed panel. So we welcome Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir. Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir is president of Indian Psychiatric Society. He is consulting Psychiatric Society with 42 years experience in Amravati. He is his private nursing home Govardhan Hospital. He is president of Indian Psychiatric Society 2024, and he's written lots of poetries in print media on various psychological disorders, on mental health and poetry. And he's also written articles on depression and some books and few papers. He has been a recently nominated member of the Constitution Committee of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So we welcome you, Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir. Over to you. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, yes.
Good morning.
I'm very happy that IPS West Zone is doing this art and cultural program. And as such, Dr. Darpan is always meticulous and very perfect in this. And eminent speakers are there. Neena is there. Monali is there. So I'll be giving my time to them because I have also a family program of 75th celebration of somebody's. So we have to go to Valgaon. But as far as in the capacity of president, I always admire this zone, not because it is my home zone, but because we are working very nicely. Neena has worked very nicely last year, and the same I expect from the Sudhir also, who has just probably locked out. Anything for mental health is good. Art and culture, especially because it gives you time to create creativity. And when you create creativity, you use your neurons much more than that. And this brain is directly related with mental health. And more you will do use of your brain, better and better your mental health will be there. Because as you all know, this is our neurochemical lochas. I'm very sure this program will be a grand success. In the capacity of IPS president, I wish my best wishes to them. As such, I have not prepared any lecture or any slides on this, which I could have prepared, because as you know, I am presenting at many levels now. But I will be reciting one poem of mine, if your chairperson permits me, and then I will be taking your leave. Is it okay, Sir Darpan? Hello? Okay, without the permission of Darpan, am I audible?
Please, sir. Yes, please carry on, sir.
Thank you. एक पोएम मैंने लिखी थी जब कारगिल का युद्ध हुआ था। आप जानते हैं कि हमारे पड़ोसी देश छुप कर हम पर हमले करते रहते हैं। आज भी आप न्यूज़ पढ़ते रहेंगे कि जम्मू कश्मीर में यहाँ पर ऐसा हुआ, वहां पर वैसा हुआ। लोगों ने छुप कर हमारे जवानों को ही नहीं, आजकल हमारे नागरिकों को भी मारा जा रहा है। तो कारगिल युद्ध जब हुआ था, मैं एक्चुअली जब कोई घटनाएं घटती है उस पर पोएम्स लिखा करता हूँ। तो जब कारगिल हुआ था तब मैंने ये पोएम लिखी थी। इसका शीर्षक भी कारगिल था। मैं 2-3 मिनट्स की पोएम जनरली लिखता हूँ, तो वो पोएम आपको सुनाता हूँ जो मैंने उसको हमारे पड़ोसी मुल्क जो हमारे पर छुप कर हमला करते हैं उनके संदर्भ में लिखी है। छुप कर क्या हमला करता, हिम्मत है तो सामने आ। छुप कर क्या हमला करता, हिम्मत है तो सामने आ। भारत माँ के वीरों से लड़ना है तो मैदान में आ। छुप कर क्या हमला करता, हिम्मत है तो सामने आ। भारत माँ की वीरों से लड़ना है तो मैदान में आ। ये तो संयम है हमारा जिससे तेरा नामो निशान है। ये तो संयम है हमारा जिससे तेरा नामो निशान है, वरना मिट जाता नक्शे से जो कहलाता आज पाकिस्तान है। ये तो संयम है हमारा जिससे तेरा नामो निशान है, वरना मिट जाता नक्शे से जो कहलाता आज पाकिस्तान है। हमें बार बार अनुभव की धमकी दी जाती है कि हम भी अनुभव लास कंट्री है। तो मेरा उसको उत्तर यह है, अनुभव की क्या धमकी देता, इस देश में 100 करोड़ बम है। अनुभव की क्या धमकी देता, इस देश में 100 करोड़ बम है। फूटेंगे जब एक साथ तो नहीं किसी ज्वालामुखी से कम है, नहीं किसी ज्वालामुखी से कम है। आखिर में हमारे देश की जो परंपरा रही है, जो हमारे फाउंडर महात्मा गांधी जी उन्होंने बनाया, उस परंपरा को समर्पित ये पंक्तियां हैं, जो कविता की आखिरी पंक्तियां भी है। हम शांति के देवदूत ये सारी दुनिया ने माना, हम शांति के देवदूत ये सारी दुनिया ने माना, कारगिल पर पग रखने का भरना होगा भारी हर जाना। हम शांति के देवदूत ये सारी दुनिया ने माना, कारगिल पर पग रखने का भरना होगा भारी जुर्माना। रंग देंगे भारत माँ का आंचल हम दुश्मन के खून से, रंग देंगे भारत माँ का आंचल हम दुश्मन के खून से। एक एक बूंद का बदला लेंगे जो बही है शहीदों के शरीर से, शहीदों के शरीर से। थैंक यू वेरी मच और भारत माता को नमन।
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rathi, sir. It's a big clap hands from the whole audience to you. Thank you. It was so wonderful to have you, sir, with us. I know that you are very, very busy today, sir, but you have taken out this time and graced and honored our program. It's a very, very big honor for all of us to listen to your poetry, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you
everyone.
from all
Kindly
of us,
continue.
sir. Thank
My
you,
best
sir.
wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Nisar, we'll proceed to the next speaker. Can you please screen share? Yes, thank you. So, it is a very big honor to welcome Dr. Neena Samant, ma'am. Ma'am is professor and unit head at Department of Psychiatry, Sage GS Medical College and KEM Hospital, and she's also served as the immediate president of the Indian Psychiatric Society Western Zone branch. She's consultant psychiatrist at Twin Eagles, and she's chairperson of the International Research Collaboration Committee of Indian Psychiatric Society and former editor of Annals of Indian Psychiatry. Her areas of interest are child psychiatry, neuropsychiatry, sexual medicine, and clinical experience of 30 years, more than 100 national and international publications, chapters and textbooks in more than 100 in magazines and in poems as well, and one on communication for general public and one book on poems. She has 10 awards and also has received Lifetime Achievement Award for Psychiatry in 2024 at Matuka Gymkhana, Atharva Women's Achiever Award 2024 for outstanding contribution in health and medical sciences. So we welcome you, ma'am. It's a big honor to have you here. And over to you, ma'am. Please share your thoughts and insights on poetry and mental health.
Thank you, Darpan. And it's very nice to be invited in the first program of Mane Tarang. And I'm sure the subcommittee is going to do enormous work in creating in creating awareness, probably having more such poetry recitals, so that not only in the psychiatric forum, but also maybe in the public forum, maybe the zone can, organize something in public forum this time, and the committee can come forth and take these challenges of spreading information, reducing stigma, and creating mental health awareness in general public, which is much needed. Last year, the Art and Cultural Committee had come up with a book on mental health, talking about not only illnesses, but also promoting mental health and wellness. And most of the psychiatrists from our zone had contributed to this book. So maybe we are all looking at poetry and mental health, and we are looking at areas which probably, all of us may feel that, oh, I cannot write a poem, or I'm not so creative. But actually, if each of us reflects and just thinks and ponders, or even, thinks about the cases which we have seen, I'm sure the lines come very easily to us. So using poetry as a medium of communication and creating awareness about our subject, which is mental health, is extremely essential. And I see a change in myself. Like before, I would write general poems, say, I've been writing since childhood, and that time all the poems were about situations which happen around us, or maybe something you see or you like or you enjoy. So it talks about usually his experiences. And after doing psychiatry, yes, listening to patients' stories and their tales, the psychiatric or the mental poems related to mental health easily come to your mind, So a change happens in the person too, because now I think though we are psychiatrists, we actually live and breathe psychiatrists 24/7. And it is, all pervasive around us, and we are so involved in it. We are always looking at things from a different perspective as compared to other physicians. So I think we have this very great tool with us where we call ourselves empathetic. And now we realize that NMC has also taken up this stance and wants to increase empathy amongst all its medical graduates. And therefore, humanities has come in the curriculum. And we are looking at things to improve empathy. And I think poetry can be an excellent medium where poetry is used as a tool to communicate, understand the angst of a person, and maybe improve the, doctor-patient communication. We are uncomfortable as teachers using this tool. But if you ask me, as each of us, when we remember our school life, I'm sure all of us remember poetry and grammar, a section in our English paper or Hindi paper or Marathi paper, where we were supposed to, given 4 lines and we had to describe what the poet thinks. So, all that was actually a part of reflection or narration, which is now brought up in our curriculum today by NMC as reflective thinking, narrative portrayal, maybe of your patient experience or your ward experience or of your subject, which has now become an integral part of every student's, UG students and PG students' logbook. And this is a very essential change where we had forgotten, to think about. Now, poetry is such a powerful thing. Like just now, sir recited about Kargil. And immediately, I am sure all of us who read those words or, attach emotions to the words, immediately get a picture in front of our eyes. So it can be used as a guided imagery tool, which we so often use to reduce anxiety, reduce the depression, ask people to think, where we use this tool of guided imagery, where we are probably doing a narration. But even poetry can be used because it is such a strong medium. And it comes. And to give you an example, I'll just tell you about the, some of the poems in your childhood have always become an imprint. One of them was Daffodils by, William Wordsworth. So every time we would recite, and the word would come, the 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. You get that picture of the bayside, you get the full field of daffodils, and you can see them waving in the wind. So powerful it is. And this can bring about a change in my mind as, make me feel at peace, make me feel, if I'm uneasy or I'm at a loss or I'm grieving or something like that, this picture can, bring that calm to me. So such an important tool. Or even, so many of us quote Robert Frost's poem, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. I have promises to keep. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. See, as students, we were always asked, why is there repetition of the lines? What is the importance? So somewhere we were taught to think, but there is so much of meaning, abstraction, how much each one's perception is so different about those 4 lines, and you can attach so much more meaning. Now, all this can be translated to real life situations. All this can be, used. Poetry as a medium can be used as such a strong tool to improve our patients' well-being, and not only our patients, to create positive mental health. And of course, to make people more understanding of a verse. Normally, not everybody is so keen on, reading a poem or looking into it. Only people who are creatively inclined would spend some time. But if we use this now, normally in our life, poems are used in every form. Yeah, you are using, all your radio channels are using jingles, which are couplets. It's just a little bit of zing attached to it with music. But the words are so important. So I feel that so much is happening around us where poetry is influencing minds without people being aware that it is the poems which are influencing minds. And as psychiatrists or as a society, I think we need to catch up on this and somewhere create our own footprints where we, want people to take cognizance of mental health. So I would just like to say this much at the moment, Darpan. Then maybe we could take, we can look at Monali's views and then maybe come back again.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, yes. So, Doctor, thank you so much, Neena Sawan, ma'am. I was thinking of asking you one or two questions. Do you want to take it together with Dr. Monali, or I would like to ask you now, ma'am?
Whatever you feel convenient, or if Monali wants to say something, then maybe we can take them together at the end.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so thank you so much, Neena Sawan, ma'am. It is really wonderful listening to your thoughts and insights, and we'd like to know some more aspects which we will ticket in the moderation. Now, it is a very big honor to welcome Dr. Monali Deshpande. She's the consultant psychiatrist at Aurangabad, chairperson of the Transactional Analysis Specialty Section, Indian Psychiatric Society, Indian Psychiatrist Association, founder president, Punk NGO working for mental health awareness. She's recipient of Resilience Award, Woman of the Year 2020-21 by IPS. She's poet, dancer, and student for life. And she's also been in charge of the poetry section last year, which was part of the Art and Cultural Subcommittee. So she's a very renowned poet. She shares her poetry, and it would be very nice to understand her insights on poetry and mental health. So we welcome you, Dr. Monali.
Thank you so much, Darpan.
Yes.
I am audible? I am audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It is an honor to be here today and being a part of the first webinar of Art and Cultural Committee, IPS WZB, which we were taking forward last year under the leadership of Neena ma'am. I'm happy to be here on the Sunday morning, and I'm happy to share my thoughts. So my journey last year with the Art and Cultural Committee Poetry Section was a very exciting journey, to be really honest, because I think Neena ma'am came up with this idea of publishing the book, which I think was a brilliant idea because it served a platform for all WZB poets to showcase their talent. Ma'am had played a major role not only in editing and finding the publisher, but also encouraging a lot of new talent and newcomers. A lot of postgraduate students also got an opportunity to come up front and express their thoughts through the poems. The second thought which Neena ma'am always had as a president was also about bringing the mental health awareness for common people. And I think she used all the avenues, including collaborating with drama people and collaborating with publishers to bring in the publications. So I think all of us are thankful to her for giving us this opportunity to express the talents that all of us had. Uh, I think poetry and mental health is not only about expressing oneself and one's own emotions in moments of distress or during the moments when you are grieving or you are having mental health issues. But I think poetry also helps one to find that space and time for oneself where one can connect to one's own inner core, or you can say the unconscious part of mind, or probably the soul, from where you can actually express those things which probably you won't be able to express in description. So I think poetry is also about maintaining that mental health, or having that preventive aspect wherein the mental health is taken very good care of in terms of allowing oneself to feel, allowing oneself to express, allowing oneself to share those emotions with all the human beings around. So I think it is very much therapeutic when one gets a chance to express it in the words, which can connect to a lot many human beings. And as Nina ma'am rightly said, that everyone will find it very different meaning with one's own experiences, with one's own past life events when they are reading a poem. And I think poetry more so ever is one's own connection with not only oneself but with all the human beings around. And I think art and cultural subcommittee will definitely take it further this time, and will carry further the milestone which Nina ma'am has actually achieved. So that is it, Darpan. That is what I wanted to express initially.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monali, for the wonderful insights. I request Nisar to please stop screen sharing right now. Can you close? Yes. And maybe we can just ask Dr. Nina Sawan ma'am and Monali just one or two questions, and then we'll proceed to the poetry recitals. So over to you, Nina ma'am. We just want to know your thoughts about. We'd like to know your thoughts about role of poetry in medical education.
Yeah, so I had just started initially about school education and how it was important for the grammar part. Medical education also I touched upon, like NMC has brought in reflective and narrative writing, though not talked about poetry to be written, but yes, we can give that tool to students to express themselves. And extremely important because we want to improve doctor-patient communication. Probably if you inculcate this training in our undergraduates and postgraduates, where you know, ask them to think with an open mind, take in, absorb what is happening around you, and listen to patients, maybe their words, stories, and give importance to those things. I think we will go we will be much better than what we are today in terms of training our students. This is important because if you give them just reflection, what I have noticed is they just write, in ward we saw 10 patients, or this patient I interacted, he had this, just like that dry history where it is, you know, just making statements. When you ask them to build around what are the emotions, if that patient has come to you in pain, say you are in surgery and he has come to in pain. Other disciplines don't even think this much. But if we train people when they come in psychiatry, that if you can think beyond that and just understand the bhasha of pain, probably you will be able to write much more and express much more when you're talking about the quality of pain in your reflection. So small changes such as this will bring about a better change over life as they go out as physicians. That is what I feel, because you always grow as a poet, and when you know to understand the depth and perceive what you know you are when you're talking to the patient, I'm sure it makes a change in you. So yes, you definitely become more empathetic, your communication improves, you are able to process maybe stress or trauma or pain easily. Why? Because now I may use poetry as catharsis. So it could be your students, it could be your postgraduate students, even if we teach it to patients, they can use this method as catharsis. And sometimes, as you are relieving and writing about your situation, you know, unconsciously, you may even come up with a solution, because when you just keep on writing and allow that free association to take place, whether it is just a narrative explanation you're giving or putting it in verse, sometimes even a solution comes up. You know, many times you look at that, many patients which we have and in our psychiatric ward, like I had so many schizophrenics, you know, they come with thought disorders, you know, florid loosening and all that. But I have one patient right now. He has no thought disorder when he makes that verse in front of me. You know, his mother also said कि वो कुछ भी लिख के नहीं रखता है, उसको जो सूझता है वो तुरंत बोल देता है. So suppose somebody who is hearing it records it, then the record of that verse is there. Otherwise, ये ऐसे ही बोलते गया है, हम लोग सुनते गए हैं, पर इसने कभी लिखा नहीं है. तो he just came, he was sitting for rounds and he just talked about it. And we were so, you know, amazed, because it is so inspiring. I mean, our patients also teach us so much and they have those qualities. We just don't realize. So, you know, that is when we told him ki, why don't you start writing? Or we told his mother कि so important कि कोई तो इसको record करे, फिर कोई लिख दे. आप ये जो सब उसके अनुभव है, and he talks about, you know, normal thing as ward experience. Ward में क्या हो रहा था, you know, sister ये की वो की, but it came out in a verse. So that is absolutely amazing. And so he has creativity and he is our patient and we are treating him for that. And I hope his creativity doesn't go in the bargain. That is what I feel. We also had a 15-year-old who was writing, you know, rap songs. And before the episode, the environment at home was all coming in rap. And he had a whole notebook filled with that. And they were such good ones. So then the schizophrenia set in. And then he said that, you know, somebody on social media, he had posted his one of his song, and somebody wanted to cash on it and made a tune out of it and, you know, used it, and he lost the copyright. And then he had become total delusional. But when we saw his book or notebook, we found so many things. And the boy was very good at rapping. Means his own verses he was rapping. So then I had to, you know, ask my PSW, my social worker, that whether there was any NGO which could, you know, kind of give them a platform. We have limited platforms, say only during mental health week, because maybe sir department may do a program where we can, you know, start including this as a platform where I give them, where we have a poetry recital, maybe by patients, maybe by doctors, and give that importance and spread the message. It is all for spreading messages, reducing stigma, and creating awareness. So that is when I had, you know, asked her, and she said, I'm so sorry, but nobody takes this literally, and there are very few people who will actually help him out. And even so, you know, we told him that, you know, YouTube is free and you can make your own YouTube channel and probably, you know, at least put up your songs, so at least they are yours. And we don't know whether you get likes, don't get likes, but it becomes a medium of expression and shayad koi na koi dekh lega. So we need to inspire others, and we as psychiatrists, I feel, need to be continuously looking around us and giving opportunities or trying to find what we can do best for our patients. So in medical education, poetry is very much needed, if you ask me, Darpan. And I think when students come to the psychiatric clinics, we need to harp on it and we need to make them aware.
Can I add a little to Neena ma'am's
Yes,
saying?
definitely.
So I am in 100% agreement, and it pleases me so much to hear you elaborate on this. I agree that poetry opens us to the infinite. One thing can mean different things to different people, and poetry opens up those possibilities. It sensitizes us to the metaphor, to the symbol. And if our students are kind of in tune with poetry, if they are kind of aware of and sensitized to this, then they will be better able to understand our patients, because our patients, anybody else's for that matter, words or the verbal communication comprises of a very small part of the communication. But if we want to pick up the non-verbal part, then we have to be open, we have to be looking for, we have to be attuned to these uh, vast possibilities of meanings. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much. We have to also complete the poetry recitals. So I will just ask one or two questions to Monali, and then we'll move to the poetry recitations. So, Dr. Monali, can you just share some insights about your source of inspiration and what you think of poetry in and its psychotherapy applications?
Okay, so I think poetry allows each human being to feel. That is very important. I think allowing oneself to feel, putting up the emotions in such a manner which could be so relative, or relatable, you can say, with all of us. Uh, as Nina ma'am has rightly said, when we understand somebody's emotions through poetry, the important thing that happens is the person feels understood, the person feels that his emotions are being recognized by the other human being, and probably now I am in a safe space where I would be able to express myself, uh, and probably I would be accepted the way I am expressing my own narrative. So I think poetry is a medium with which each of us can connect to each of us at a very human level, at a very emotional level, at a very basic level. Uh, I think it not only helps us to channelize the emotions uh, that we feel in a very good way, but it also has a sense of intrigueness, curiosity, a kind of acceptance that is attached to it. I think sharing and experiencing the emotions in a raw way and expressing it through poetry helps an individual heal or resolve the emotions that he's feeling inside. The inspiration, from where do I get my poetry inspiration is, I think, is through life itself, because I think being alive, being able to feel the emotions, being human, allowing myself to um, express and communicate, though the expression might not be what I exactly feel inside, but then still having a way to connect with my inner self and express it, the beauty of it, the aliveness of it, uh, the acceptance of imperfections in it, the probably the omnipotence of emotions everywhere, which is same. Uh, Probably the impermanence of life, and yet the order in that chaos, about uh, life itself, is something that inspires me. And I am always intrigued by things that surround us, things that express themselves in different ways, be it the cloud thunder, or be it the rains that chatter, be it the birds that chirp, or be it the emotions which connect to things in nature. I think everything around us is so inspiring. That is what connects me with the world. And I think poem helps me to express myself in that way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monali, for the wonderful insights. I would just like both of you to jointly, Nina ma'am and Dr. Monali. I think that you all have done fantastic work last year under Nina ma'am's leadership and your efforts, Monali. So I think how poetry can be used for community mental health awareness. Both Nina ma'am and you both can share insights about the poetry book that the IPS Western Regional Branch has released last year, and how did you all go about with the idea and conceptualize the whole book, and how has it been used for community mental health awareness? Over to you, Nina ma'am.
So I will ask Monali to take over because she was the chairperson of the poetry section last year. And yes, it was all their efforts. So she's given me the credit, but I did the final touches. But
Ma'am,
yes,
can you
the
also
committee
share
work.
your thoughts on community, your work on community and
The
poetry?
whole idea was that we have poets, we have people who put it up in individual forums, but we wanted it to come under a collective forum and represent the zone. We have put it on our website, so we wanted it to be available to people. And of course, we definitely need to highlight it. So, I would definitely like to tell Dr. Bhave that, talking about lyrics of the mind and poetries should also go in our Mandarshika, where where that calendar is being circulated to all, where you're talking about various mental illnesses. We also want, that it is available on this website. So even if that advertisement goes, somebody will go open the website and see the poem because it is available as an ebook. So when you're talking about community psychiatry reaching out, we definitely need to use it in various ways we can. The zone has come together and put this small portrayal. We need to bring out more. This is in 3 languages. I mean, we got it in Hindi, Marathi, English, Gujarati. So whoever was comfortable in whichever language puts across their thoughts, which were not only about why I chose psychiatry, what are my patients, what did my patients teach, what did I see. Some poems are on problem solving, how to help. So you have got a different arena of poems which are talking about different aspects of mental health. So in a way, it is telling people that there is resilience and you can come out and you can hear stories. We hear success stories. There is so much given on these things. We want all these poems to come on blogs, podcasts, recitals. So in whichever way, if your Mane Tarang can make an online poetry recital group or something like that, which will be seen by people, like we have, Hasya Kavi Sammelans are there. So, to improve mental well-being, if you can take it out as a, something for the general public, I think at least it is a start. We have to start somewhere. That is what I would say. And over to Monali.
Thank you, Nina ma'am. Actually, to be really honest, whatever we did last year was Nina ma'am's ideas and inspiration that she always gave us. Moreover, she was always there, standing and solving our problems in whenever we had. And though she gave last touches, those were the most important moments where she has, I think, put in 24 hours to edit each and every aspect of it and then hand it over to the publisher. So how was this journey of West Zone? I think I would be wrong if I do not mention Gaurav, Dr. Gaurav from Goa and Dr. Jeet from Gujarat, who helped me bringing forth all these poems together. I think it was a wonderful idea because a lot of psychiatrists, as Madam said, had been putting up their poems on different forums, and we could collect them under one roof and then publish it for everyone's. So what was important in this was if you have, I would invite all those who are attending today, and if this recording goes on air later. I would invite each one of you to actually read that book, because Lyrics of Mine, because I think there have been few poems where mental illness was described in such a relatable manner that I think if it reaches the common public, it would help them in the acceptance of their own illness. Probably they would feel more understood, more accepted, and as ma'am said, they would have more confidence and feel more safe to reach out to the psychiatrists if they see what is being written about bipolar disorder, about schizophrenia for that matter. And I think each psychiatrist had a different way of expressing and understanding mental health. There were few who wrote about the preventive aspect of it, how to handle stress, problem solving, how to have relationships. Few of them wrote about grief in such a wonderful manner that each of us who have gone through losses would relate to it, and probably that was therapeutic to even psychiatrists who were reading it. So I think a wonderful job was being done by all the poets, and we thank Nina ma'am for her enormous efforts to publish it. And I would invite the committee now to take it further, so that it reaches the general public. And it is a wonderful idea that if it is being published in Manadarshika, I think a lot of common people would also go ahead and read it. I think poetry as a medium should be used as much as possible, because if you historically also go in mythological times, Ramayana, Mahabharata for that matter, or has also been published in words forms. And I think narrative in those aspects, in those old mythological books also is very therapeutic in terms of problem solving and everything. Manache Shlok in Marathi also, I think, is a wonderful way of actually relating to mind, which is in a very poetic and in a very words forms that Swami Ramdas has given to us. So I think we have to encourage this thing, because it will destigmatize the mental illness. It will also bring in more awareness. It will also bring in more connect with the common people. And that is what our basic aim is, to reach out most and more people out there, and to help them improve their mental health, help them get over their mental illnesses, and probably relate to each other on more human terms. So I think I would invite the next committee to take it further. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Monali and Dr. Nina Sawant, ma'am, for the wonderful speaker session on poetry and mental health. Now we have about 10 minutes remaining. So we will quickly proceed to the poetry recitations. Dr. Nisarg Patel, or please share the first slide for poetry recitals. We have 3 poems. One is being recited by Dr. Meenakshi Parikh ma'am. The other one is by Sandeep Mahamuni, and the third poetry is by Dr. Nisarg Shah. Yes. So can you please screen share the slides?
Yes.
Can you screen share the first the first slide before this? Before this, but all the 3 titles are there.
That's on the first page.
Okay. Well, you have the poetry reciters. Next. Previous.
Yeah.
Okay, so in today's program, we have 3 poetry reciters. The first poetry is on the shifting paradigms, which will be by Dr. Meenakshi Parikh. The second poetry recital is Bees of Grudges by Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni. And the third poetry recital is on Ruminations on Railway Station by Dr. Nisarg Shah. So over to please the introductory series slide of Dr. Meenakshi, madam. Yes, the first slide, previous slide. Previous slide, yes. So this is the first poem on the shifting paradigms. It's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Dr. Meenakshi Parikh. Next slide. Madam is Director of Postgraduate Studies and Research at Medical College, Ahmedabad. She's Professor and Head Department of Psychiatry, BJ Medical College and Civil Hospital, Ahmedabad. She's a Jungian psychoanalyst from the International Association of Analytic Psychology, Switzerland. She has more than 50 national and international publications and has given public lectures on stress management, women mental health, emotional intelligence, parenting, etc. So we welcome you, Meenakshi ma'am, and please screen share ma'am's poetry. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to this Art and Culture Subcommittee in general and Darpan in particular for inviting me to recite my poem in this very first program of the committee. And I wish the committee success throughout the year. The title of my poem is Shifting Paradigms. The evening sun just shone, gave the glow but didn't burn. The autumn leaves lazily drifted, to the cool breeze my face lifted. The tear that had formed in the corner of my eye evaporated. The balance of my world simply shifted. On the precipice of one world, as pebble after pebble I playfully kicked, with a dancing step, over to the other world I crossed. Could you just shift to the next line, please? Nisar? Can we see the rest of the poem, please? I have it here, but it will help if everyone can see the poem. With a dancing step, over to the other world I crossed. The balance of my world perceptibly changed. Yeah. With wind in my hair, a beatific smile in my eyes, as the golden sun I gazed, as at the golden sun I gazed, with eternal love he whispered, I'm here, he said, and my heart a beat skipped. The balance of my world happily readjusted. So, as someone great said, poetry is its own interpretation, and to try and explain it is like making finite something that is actually infinite. Just like a symbol, just like the 1,000 daffodils that Nina ma'am just talked about. The sun, it opens up so many possibilities. Gentle warmth on a wintry day, scorching heat, life giver, light giver, nurturer, fire, cooking, and 1,000 other possibilities. To experience these possibilities, not to cognitize, not to rationally think, but to experience these possibilities, to live them, takes us into the realm of the divine, of the spiritual, the soul space of the ineffable. And suddenly you realize that the mundane world, with all its struggles, is not the ultimate, is not the only world. The sadness that seemed all encompassing a moment before is suddenly relativized and is no longer overpowering. And as you stand on the precipice, on the edge, between the two worlds, the day to day on one hand and the soul space on the other hand, the banal and the spiritual on the other hand, the mundane and the divine, you also realize that you have the freedom to move from one to the other world. And you kick the pebbles and you are relaxed and carefree. And like the designs in the kaleidoscope, your worldview shifts, changes. You just make this much movement and the whole picture changes. And now there is bliss. You're free to be who you are. Mother Nature, this archetypal nurturer, offers balm to all the wounds of the personal world, and even more, we, mere mortals, can surrender to the divine and feel safe. Both the worlds are not in competition, they can coexist, and we can become more whole, more complete. The whole trick is in the balance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meenakshi Parikh ma'am. It was very wonderful and very inspirational to listen to your poetry. And thank you so much for being part of our program. It's been a very nice honor to have you here and listen to your poetry recital. Thank you so much. Please clap for ma'am. Thank you so much. Now we move to the next poetry recital, which is Bees of Grudges by Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni. Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni is the alumnus of St. G.S. Medical College and Hospital, Mumbai. He is immediate past president of IPS Pune branch. He's recently completed LLB from SPPU. He's currently senior psychiatrist at Regional Mental Hospital, Pune, and panel consultant at Pune Hospital and Research Center. He's psychiatrist at Manmeet Psychiatric Clinic and previously served as the prison psychiatrist at Yerawada Central Prison, Pune, and principal investigator of clinical drug trials and community mental health program with Foundation for Research in Community Mental Health. He is pursuing a certificate program in statistical methods and research methodology from JSS, and he is a part of these higher education and research Mysuru and Bharatiya Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, Mumbai. He is Sangeet Visharad in harmonium from Akhil Bharatiya Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, Mumbai. It's mental health awareness on Hello Sayadri, Akashvani, and TED Talks. So we welcome you, Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni, and over to you for your poetry recital on Bees of Grudges. Thank you.
Next slide.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you, Art and Cultural Subcommittee, for inviting me over here for the first edition of this very interesting activity. Like Aristotle said, we all are, social animals. Man is a social animal. And so humans, are social creatures and who thrive in the company of others. But many a times it so happens that relationships get strained. There are many reasons for this tension and conflict. And so this particular poetry is about these relationships which are strained and what can be done about it. So we as mental health professionals always tell our clients to introspect when there is something goes wrong in relationships. So first part we'll talk about the ramifications it will have if there are strained relationship, there are conflicts in the relationship. And the second half of the poetry will talk about the how can we resolve these conflicts in the relationship. So this poetry, Bees of Grudges. So I'll start. Release the bees of grudges and regret when anger and guilt is hard to negate. Angry bees buzzing in the head, guilt and sorrows are only man-made. Bottled up anger does not suppress the cascading crisis of your distress. Lingering thoughts create sick feeling, eating away joy and your well-being. Now, in second part, we'll talk about this second part of the poetry talks about the how can we resolve. And we as psychiatrists always, make recommendations about this. So try to be objective and make new amends. Look within as your shrink recommends. Don't hold grudges, else relationship freezes. Necessary part of your social sphere, truth known since donkey's ears. Bury the hatchet and smile at him, for world doesn't run at your whim. With open mind, open that door to friendship in troubled waters and in the same ship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni, sir. Thank you. It's been a very nice and very insightful, very relevant and very simple and sweet poetry. It is very elegant. So thank you very much. A big applause from the audience for Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni, sir. Thank you. And we move on to the last poetry recital. It's a big honor to welcome Dr. Nisarg Shah. he is a member of the Art and Cultural Subcommittee, and he has played a big relevant role in today's program to collect and make all the PPTs and slides. We had Dr. Alkesh Patil, who was going to moderate our program, but for some reason he was unable to participate in the program. And we had initially Dr. Sanjana, we thought that she would be moderating, but because of these problems, we were not able to, have Dr. Alkesh with us. So Dr. Nisar played a very relevant role for success of today's program. So we welcome you, Dr. Nisar, and we thank you for all the efforts you put together for today's program. And it's my honor to welcome him. His poetry recital is Ruminations on Railway Stations. He is MD, MBBS, consultant psychiatrist, and certified in child and adolescent psychiatry. He's a consultant psychiatrist practicing Surat since last 8 years. He works with all adult psychiatric disorders, addiction, psychosexual, psychosomatic problems, and completed his child psychiatry certification ICAM. His work experience is private practice at Manashuddhi Psychiatric Clinic at Udna and Vishnu Surat since 2015. He's Associate Director at Social Institute of Mental Health, De-Addiction, Sunshine Global Hospital, Piplad, attached as visiting psychiatrist with major hospitals around Surat. He's Chief Consultant Psychiatrist at Kasturba Sevashram Maroli Mental Hospital for 8 years and conducted multiple mental health awareness lectures in schools and colleges and organizations like ONGC, NTPC, Pal University, Rotary, Navil, Ryan International, and more than 5 publications in national journals and 1 in international journal. Over to you, Dr. Nisarg Shah, and we look forward to your poetry recital.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. I'll start with my poem. So, I had been a student of MBBS at IIM Palaj in Karamsad and my PG at Baroda. And I have been traveling in trains for almost 10 years from Surat. So, always train journeys have been very close to my heart. And since last 10 years, I have been practicing psychiatry. So I find very relation between train journeys and our practice. So starting my poem. And so there goes one more train from the railway station, jogging along onto its next destination. I find this scene a simile to my own sticky situation, where I am the psychiatrist as the railway station and my patients are the trains arriving at the station. Just as some local trains stop at every railway station, some patients also seek multiple consultations. But some trains are long distance trains, superfast express. They don't stop at any stations. They just zoom by till they reach their final destination. Analogously, some patients too are chronically sick because of their genetic mutations, and they also march along diligently to their final destination. Just as the station master signals the red flag and the train stops at the station, comparably, a psychiatrist also identifies the red flags in patients and starts them on medication. Next slide. At the right time, the station master signals the green flag and the train leaves the station. The psychiatrist too trains the patient how to watch for green flags in a person before starting any new relation. There is always a rush at the station during the holiday season as people go from their annual vacation. Same way, there is a rush of students at a psychiatrist OPD just before their annual examination. Each train leaves a sigh of relief when finally all passengers disembark at their journey's destination. Similarly, each patient too feels relaxed as they share what's on their mind with the psychiatrist by doing thought ventilation. Historically, there was a huge stigma that trains are always running late, but now trains reach on time at the station. Same way, too much mental health stigma prevented patients from opening up, but now more and more are willing to talk about their victimization without any rationalization. Whenever there is any danger in the train, the passengers are instructed to pull the chain and stop the train, even if there is no nearby railway station. Similarly, whenever there is any mental burnout, it is important to understand that it is okay to not be okay and go out for a break, even if there is no reason for any celebration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nisarg Shah. It is very, very beautiful, creative, and very mesmerizing poetry that you have written. And we all audience, wholeheartedly applaud you. And thank you so much for reciting. And we thank everybody who has today taken their efforts to be part of our program. Dr. Alkesh is supposed to give as convener, the vote of thanks, but he is not present here. So may I thank everybody? I think I'd like to thank the Honorable President of Indian Psychiatric Society, Dr. Lakshmikant Rathi sir, who came for our program and graced us. We thank all the office bearers of IPS, Dr. Sudhir Bhave sir, the President of Psychiatric Society of Western Zone, and the Secretary, Dr. Abhijit Pai, and all the West Psychiatric Society of West Zone office bearers. We'd like to thank our Art and Cultural Subcommittee, myself in the role of chair, Dr. Mulmule sir is the advisor, Dr. Amol is the EC coordinator, and Dr. Alkesh is our convener. We have 3 members, Dr. Sanjana Jaiswal, who is from Maharashtra, Dr. Nisarg, who is from Gujarat, and Dr. Lisa Barros, who is from Goa, and all the committee members we thank. We thank all the speakers, Neena Sawant ma'am, Lakshmikant Rathi sir, and Dr. Monali, who took out their time and were part of this program. We also thank the 3 poets of psychiatry, Dr. Meenakshi Parikh ma'am, Dr. Sandeep Mahamuni sir, and Dr. Nisar for reciting their poetry. I'd also let the audience know that this Art and Culture Subcommittee program is in collaboration with the Poets of Psychiatry group, which is a group of psychiatrists who write poetry from all over India and abroad. We are currently 70 members. I am the founder of the Poets and Psychiatry group. If any one of you all are interested as psychiatrists, you write poetry, please reach out to me so that I can add you on the Poets of Psychiatry group. And from Man-e-Tarang series, we will be doing our next month program on storytelling and psychiatry. Poetry is done this month. Next month, we have lined up the theme of storytelling, and we will be inviting psychiatrists to write stories and some more programs in music, dance, singing, and a whole calendar